The old ladder's going to be sending warnings. Yeah. I know.
Well, and you know, at our age, I don't know, you can go from 0 to Earth about 2 minutes.
That's why I didn't agree.
I need to find. The song we'll do another about four for great song.
Find a bathroom?
No. Oh, wait that. I mean, it's the human story, right? Like at some point, everyone's been in that place. I need to find a bathroom.
And everyone's had that dream.
Oh, yeah.
Right. The dream. Or you're going around, you finally found a bathroom and it's got glass on all sides.
You can buy it. Everyone seems to be normal about it. No one's too good to be like,
kind of exposed here.
I know.
I'm going to go find another place and go up 85 steps.
The whole thing. Like Roger had this dream last night. The last dream where I woke up.
Oh no!
I was sitting at a garage thing with you and Dave. We built a thing and trying to organize it, and then I realized, oh my God, what? Like I was supposed to go on an international flight, and I was like, that's got 40, 30 minutes ago. I'm not doing it here. There's no way I'm going to miss the flight. And I felt this. And dreams can make you feel, I mean, just like your body starts responding. Very stressful. Roger and Dave, that'd be organized for us if we go. I don't.
I haven't had an international trip dream probably ever.
I have a lot of international trips going, but
no, it's just funny. Yeah, certain themes show up, and yeah, I'll have dreams sometimes of going to a sale of some kind.
Oh yeah,
and because that's more my work.
That's your world. And my dream is go well. I have 4 flights on the boat, both of them relevant because people want to go back out again.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're twisting my arm.
Going to Cabin Island next to the off coast of Los Angeles.
Okay.
Or fly out Sunday.
Flying out to the island.
Then flying out to Grand Rapids, Michigan for the creative conference. By the way, it is the World Cup. Well, creative. Filmmakers, writers,
Bruce is hobnobbing with famous people.
Hobnobbing with the actors from The Chosen.
Oh, you.
In August, it's off to Spain. No, in July, it's off to Iceland. Then August, it's off to Spain. And it may happen again. It's pretty good.
I'm going to hit.
Get the black. Lord have mercy. So in some ways, Roger and I live very parallel lives. In other ways, in relation to our work, our ministry is very powerful, but our work is very different. Roger goes from city to city buying tickets.
And selling them on the worldwide marketplace called eBay.
Materialism, all of those things. I'm going city to city to actually help people.
That's the gospel of Jesus.
Well, that's true.
That makes so hate you.
I hate you. I would kill your vegetables. And you just have. So, Rob, what are we talking about today? I think it was turn to pick the song.
I'm picking the song, and I'm going with a John Denver classic, Rocky Mountain High.
Rocky Mountain High.
Rocky Mountain High.
For years, until I went and listened to the song for the first time last night, I thought it was a song very much like Rocky Mountain Way, which is all about smoking weed. And there are some allusions to that in John Denver's song, but I was surprised at how moved I was by the song, the lyrics in the song. Yeah, if you just get the lyrics fast now.
Right.
So I'm listening to it, and I've got the lyrics up on screen so I can see what he's singing.
So time out. Yeah.
Fascinating.
So when the song came out, early 70s,
yep.
Not a song you were familiar with?
Oh yeah, very familiar.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I just never listened to the lyrics. I like the melody.
Right.
Very pleasant. I wasn't a John Denver fan, partly because of the stigma that it was causing like at that point. Yeah, late elementary school.
Now, what were the stigma? The country or
country folksy guy?
Oh, okay.
Rock guy. I remember
Gotcha.
elementary school. I was Elton John, Casey and the Sunshine Band. You remember them, right?
I do.
They did 10 songs that were the exactly same beat, the same theme, and yet they went to #1 10 times. They just found like a thing, and then we were still at the
Philadelphia Freedom.
That was the one I remember listening to on a little transistor radio.
Oh yeah, that was
as I
the
was riding my bike.
classic rock ballad.
Yeah, I thought it was so good. So John Denver, and I just thought about this morning. It was real name Denver.
No, you know it's good.
I do.
Well, so I have this memory that he is a distant relative to someone we know, Steve Detchenburg. So his last name is Detchenburg.
Well, of course,
He changed it. A friend told him that's never going to fit on a marquee. You've got to shorten it. So, so interesting factoid. Yeah.
But Denver, that makes sense.
It's
so okay. So lyrically, now he much better writer than I thought. Again, I had no idea.
He wrote almost all of his
so,
songs. Yeah.
So the beginning of the song, for those who haven't listened to the lyrics like I haven't, he was born in his 27th year, coming home to a place that he'd never been before. I'm like, that is so good. That's great songwriting.
No,
because and I wonder, Roger, is he telling his story? Did he move to Colorado? And because you got a sense that he was hanging by a song, that he was on the road, but he found his home 27 years old when he got to the Rocky.
It's a very good question, because he ended up living in Colorado a lot of years. He didn't start off there. Born in New Mexico. Lived in places, including Montgomery, Alabama, for a while. His dad was in the military, so they traveled a lot. But then eventually did move to Aspen, I think, and lived years and years and years in Aspen. So I have wondered that. And this, yes, his theme of, even there, you might say he's been born again.
Yeah.
So in his 27th year, he had a life change. Just born again.
Said so much to him that the story of wherever he's writing about.
Right.
He said it's like he found the key to every locked door.
He found the key to. You could say he found the key to every door.
Yeah. It's like every door, everything. It's like this whole freedom. And then when he started singing about it, and I felt this, because I've been in Colorado hiking in the Rocky Mountains, just the feeling in the air, the sky is bigger. He alluded to something that I've never thought about, but I didn't see it in Colorado. I felt like here. So a night is so dark, and you're up so high, like you're up at 5, 6, 7,000 feet.
Yeah.
You're a mile high. You're off like
Yeah.
And there's no moon, but the stars are out. And you can see the stars, like you can see the Milky Way, and it had that super soft with a little shadow. And I was like, I've seen that, but I would have said, look at that, a shadow. And he's like, it's just lyrically.
Right.
And so I get all, I love the mountain.
Well, let me ask you this. So I had actually had this thought, that part of the fun of the song is they said, it reminds me of some of your journey in different ways.
Yeah.
With the mountains, with hiking, and even a stint in Colorado you had.
Yeah.
But
had a stint in Colorado?
Yeah. Oh my. It was awful. No, but is this a song that breaks out on hikes at any time?
It never has.
Never has. Okay.
It never has. Partly because it's not got a driving beat that helps people hike. It's got more of a lullaby. It's going to put people to sleep and make them feel worse about their life. So I have to put stuff that's upbeat, Queen, AC/DC, even Boston, just get them rocking out there. Life is good. Yeah, we can do it.
Don't stop believing.
Don't stop believing.
You got
that kind of stuff. But I connected with the song more than I thought. Just when he talks about things, you're climbing up so high that you can see the silver clouds below you. That's a feeling. That's a sight that I've seen many, and it's always beautiful. It's always breathtaking. Every time it happens, things like that. It's like the clouds right. And for me as a hiker and an outdoorsman, and as a person who loves the summit high enough, I've hiked Pike Peak twice,
Right.
which was 14,110 feet of that. Extraordinary journey when you get to the top. I've hiked Mount Whitney, the tallest mountain in the lower 48, 6 times. So did that 6 times. But but then the song takes this turn that I think I know what he's talking about. They said he got crazy once he tried to touch his son.
Yeah.
He lost a friend but kept the memory. And I thought, it's called summit fever. So it's almost like he and a friend were hiking. They're trying to reach the summit in Colorado, as in the high Sierras. You have to make the summit before, because the sky turns to fire. That's another lyric. You have light. It can kill you. It kills a lot of people. So the rule is you have to be off the summit, but to the summit and off of before.
You're going to be beating the storms that are invariably going to come in.
Electric storms that come in.
Wow.
And since they also call it summit fever, which is I probably shouldn't. It's too late. We didn't get here in time. I see storms brewing, but you go great. They call it summit fever. Still people on every, lot more people on every side. But summit fever is I can make it. I've got to get there and then I'll get off. I'll be able to get off. And some people make the summit, but then don't have the energy to get back off the mountain because they killed it. It's called summit fever. So when he talked about he got crazy when he tried to touch the sun, I just love that lyric. But then he immediately lost his friend. He's got this memory, but now you see him walking in the woods solitary, introspectively. He said he turned his sight in to try to understand basically the stillness of an alpine lake. It was sort of sad and beautiful and
hit that reference. Forget the exact something he says to God, but he gives a casual reply.
This whole thing of being in the mountains and hearing God.
Yes.
It's just being able to, it's not hearing the audible voice of God, which would be a very non-casual.
Right.
It's just the birds and it's sometimes the stillness.
And it's everywhere.
Well, and it's, and I reposted this last week on Facebook, but it was an article I wrote for Monthly Lifestyle Magazine.
Okay.
Called Get Outdoors. They renamed it Camp Blue, which was hilarious. Camp
God.
Blue. So I'm like,
That's
got my own cat now. This is great. But I talked about in that article, isn't it interesting when God created Adam and Eve was with him in that house, or it's him, right? Isn't that cool? Isn't it right? I mean, I'm like, dude, we're made for that. And I think we're made to commune with God in the outdoors. It's one of the things I'm talking about tonight. Marlene and I are reading Bible study, and we're going through the book, Dallas Willis, Hearing God.
Hearing God, yeah.
One of my top 10 books of all time. When I coach clients, I have them read that book, part of it. But it's interesting when you go into Genesis, when it talks about all the time before sin took place. The Hebrew word that's used is palmah, which is to say or commune. So I believe that God was speaking, spirit to spirit to Adam and Eve. Beautiful, this communion that they had with God, living with his audible voice. But it changes. The word changes. Right after they sin, the word kavah is used for the first time, the Hebrew word, which means to say aloud. And what did they do? They were afraid. They ran. They're like, and we've never heard the audible voice of God. That would not be a casual fly.
Right.
And this is even what I'm saying. We are made to commune with God, spirit to spirit. And for me, one of the best places for that to happen is outdoors. I don't know why.
Well, here's why. Here's why. That sounds cool.
I like it though, Rod. Roger's coming in with a bold move.
No,
here's why, Bruce.
I had this insight. So I have every morning I get up early. It's usually around 5 o'clock. So I make a cup of coffee and I go sit on my front porch. And there's not some stunning mountain vista view. There's not
Tennessee Valley
recite. There's, friends walking down the street. So it's not like this beautiful get out and I sing and I pray, I think, and I just enjoy God. Just giving thanks. The communing communing with God. So I'm getting to a revelation. So that I had with this is, we've had a few mornings that were like just so super cold. It was like, okay, I'm gonna have to sit inside. So,
7 degrees is not conducive.
right.
to
So this morning, and yeah, and 12-mile-an-hour winds, which we got. So it's not often, but every now and then, okay, I'm gonna sit inside. I gotta have this time with God. And it dawned on me, of course I still meet with God. But I realized so often for me when I'm sitting out on the floor and I'm looking at it, when I go out there, it's dark. But the phrases like, the heavens declare the glories of the whole earth is full of glory.
Because when you're outside and it's work, that's what singers and blow.
Yes.
And it's like the glory. And then I see it on the farm, like I'll walk in first thing in the morning, and the sun's not even up yet. Guys starting to turn filling them off.
Right. So all of that, what I realized when I'm indoors, I see the glory of man. I see.
Oh, this is it. This is the typical.
I see. Like in my living, I see a lot of things I create. I build. I see pictures on the wall, or I see things. And of course, there's part of the glory of God in the things that we've done. But it was inside a building, I'm seeing the glory. But when I stay outside, it doesn't matter the viewpoint. When I'm outside, I see a sky I can't explain that goes out farther than I can comprehend. I see trees.
Yeah.
I mean, trees, there's this glory in trees. My wife Joy creates these flowers. And so when I'm sitting, again, the song will coming up, this is my Father's world, and I'm hearing the casual reply all the time. I'm just hearing, seeing, and I realize I connect with the glory of God outdoors. I'm just more inside. I'm surrounded by the glory of man, and I'm out. I'm surrounded by God.
That's so good. That's so good. And it's interesting, coming back to the song, it's one of the things that brings him great sorrow. So they're like tearing down mountains to bring in more, bringing more people and starving upon the land. It's like, he's alluding to what you're talking about. I'm losing the natural beauty of God's creation, and now I'm seeing the glory of man propping up everywhere.
And where we're even monetizing or commodifying God's glorious nature, which is a very human thing.
Yeah.
We're going to...
Well, if God made it this good, we can make it even better, and we can make some money.
And even there, as much as, I enjoy staying in a resort or something, but there's so much simple beauty, and even some of the lie around something fancier or bigger, or it will find this particular kind of, it'll be a big place with a hot tub, and it'll have, but all I need is just him and his glory and all he's created, and simple is often far better.
Like in Colorado, I'm not capable. I would much rather have a small cabin in the woods.
Yes.
As long as it's got a front porch and a back deck.
Right.
And it was when I hiked Pike Peak first time, I stayed in Manistee Springs, just south of there, around Colorado Springs, and I just rented this little cabin.
Yeah.
And I was shocked that it had no air conditioning in it. I'm like, oh my God. But then just open the windows, and it was like, because you're up at 6,000 feet.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what I want. I just wanted a very simple cabin experience. Even those little KOA cabins can be fun. Which is basically a shed with a couple of bunk beds. And I'm like, well, we have it's that thing I've had before. I can come out and sit. It's raining, I'm covered.
It's wonderful. And so there's no shocker to me than even the science that, like, being outdoors is good for you at every possible level.
Yeah.
And so part of it I understand can be scientifically explained, where you look and say, okay, there's vitamin D from the sun, but when this soulish part of us that seeing the glory of God, and actually seeing our own smallness.
Yeah.
Like inside my house, I'm too big. I created so many of the things. It's not an environment that's going to be conducive to humility. I go outdoors. Oh, this is bigger than I am. You talk about like I've got a been to nature outdoors. I realize like in my house, I can set the temperature.
You can move friends around.
I can do it.
That move drink around.
I get outside. There's no switch to flip. I'm not changing the temperature.
Yeah.
There's this thing where inside gives me the illusion. Inside, I have this much more illusion of control and bigness, power.
And for a lot of people, safety.
Yes.
It's like some people don't want to go tent camping with you. It doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Because all you're surrounded by is fabric. It's literally fabric is the only thing that separates you from all the potential hostilities of nature.
And by the way, I know you've been in that fabric house in a lightning storm, and it scared the hell out of you.
A lightning storm. Well,
Storm. Wait, you had a storm.
Well, that's when we snored. Okay. Look at that. Like a storm or is it a storm?
Are you married to someone?
It's the storm story. But and
I love these
it's not going to take much to knock this tent down. So it feels safer to be in a hut, if they call these lodges, like an Iceland, a hut, or until they also call them I call them lodges.
Whether it is safer or not, it feels safer.
It feels safer because you have wood like surrounding you,
Right.
and you have this.
Right.
Anyway, but I'll take a tent every time. Like when I take people to Chile, Iceland, we're staying in there. You can stay in lodges or hospitals or
Right.
or like that. We're staying there.
Yeah.
You want a different, Roger, even that, but that's part of that. When you're sleeping in a tent, you feel like you're sleeping outdoors. Good well.
Yes.
You are actually sleeping outdoors. And with the tent that I've got now, you can like open both sides and the screens, the boat tank in them, but you got complete view and air and front door, back here. Front door, well, the front door is completely open. The back is like a half thing. So and it's like, and it's perfect for ice. 14, this means it can take 50-mile-an-hour wind fall, which is bad.
And you have experienced wind that lifted a tent entirely up in the air.
Mark Booth and I have both experienced a different round what we call catastrophic tent fall. CPF. Not something you want, and it's usually related to wind. Like wind gusts that go to 70 suddenly. Well, fabric is being sort of stretched along metal. When you get a wind gust like that, the metal is like, hey, I'm stronger than you. I think it'll break right on through. Which it does.
And the fabric said,
fabric,
well, you just try.
It's like rock, paper, scissors. You gotta see what
That'll
I don't know. Paper, like rock, can be something. Oh God, it's all necessary. Lord of mercy.
By the way, so interesting factoid.
Yeah.
So,
I love that guy.
well, Rocky Mountain High.
I don't think you put mountain. That's Altoid. That's an Altoid. Sorry. Back to it.
No, he actually. Well, it's interesting because you've talked about what your sense of the Rocky Mountain High was. He actually, I think, at some point had to clarify this really isn't about drugs. It's really because
that's Joe Wall.
Right, that's right. He's all about it.
The Rocky Mountain Way.
Now, it's not that John Denver never did any of that, but there, even in that song, you have the sense this is like a nature high. This is
a natural high.
A natural high.
Absolutely.
But he had to clarify it at some point.
Well, because the last chorus does have a little thing. Everyone's sitting around the fire
and everybody's
high.
Right.
But he's not even arguing in it, right?
No.
They're just experiencing the Rocky Mountain High.
No, you're sitting at the end of a day.
Yeah.
And resting all the stuff you took in.
Yeah.
And I've had it like outdoors, and you get to the end of a day, and you've had it so many. You've probably summited this. You've done. You think about this, the high that comes. Anyway, that. Oh yeah.
Well, finish that thought. I'm about to segue into something completely different.
Okay,
They're
well,
also on John Denver.
so curious if this is where you're going, but so this song gives him an interesting distinction. This song was adopted as the second official song of Colorado.
Okay.
There's another one about the Columbine flower, actually, or something. So very interesting that the song is adopted, but it means that John Denver had two songs that are a state song. Yes.
Country Road.
Take Me Home, Country Roads is also a co-state song of the state of West Virginia.
No,
Stephen Falk. I don't know.
I don't know. No, what I was going to say is I have something uniquely in common with John Denver that probably no one else has.
Oh, gosh.
Uniquely in common.
Okay. You have my attention.
So he and his wife had fertility issues. First of all, they couldn't have children. So they adopted a child.
Okay.
A baby. You know what they named it? Zachary. I'm like, when I heard that part of the story, I was like, that's so he's got to be a fertility adopted. Beautiful. And he was a black girl, which was beautiful.
Okay.
It gives a little bit about, especially where he was on social justice issues. Actually, now it's 51-year-old, like, proponent to social work in Colorado, still lives just outside of that, doing really good work. You know, so listening to just a piece about it. But all three of the children, very behind the scenes. None of them have gone into the let's get out front.
Right. Yep.
Very quiet, but very devoted to social justice, social work in Colorado, which I think is a beautiful legacy. It was a big part of the John Denver.
Oh, he was, yes. You look at he was at not just environment, but you pick that up in the song, and even that he's this allusion to, tearing down the mountain, and we're gonna.
Yep.
But he had environmental, even beyond environmental, there were other.
So it was this commentator that was doing about the three children's now. He said he believed the greatest legacy was his kids and what they continue.
Wow.
In their father's footsteps.
They're proud.
Oh yeah, I'm like, did you read? I couldn't tell you. I read about when he died.
Oh, I knew how. Yeah.
I had forgotten. It's so funny. That was happening in 1997, so that wasn't that long ago. I mean,
nope.
It was the year before we adopted that. But yeah, plane crash. He was the only person on the plane. It was sort of an experimental new plane. And they said it had a design flaw where you would have to turn all the way around backwards to change gas tank to fuel tank.
Yeah.
So you had to switch from one to the other, which now would be a switch.
Right.
But I'm sure then it was a physical thing. You got that turn this brake, got to open this brake. And whatever happened in that, because the FAA believes that's when, because like his last words were, oh God, like he's literally going. In a spiral, he can't get back out of it. And a minute before, he was talking very casually to the air traffic control. He's about a transponder number and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was an interesting read. 53 years old.
And too many artists lost plane crash. If you think
So
about
I started thinking about all the people who've lost in plane. Just celebrities in general. Thinking about
Improved feet.
Yeah,
This plane crash.
one of my favorites, Keith Green.
Yep. Yep.
Basketball player Kobe Bryant. Helicopter crash.
But it worked. I want to say Jefferson Airplane can't be right, but there was a group that lost several members of its band.
I think Leonard Skinner did.
Leonard Skinner. Yes. Leonard Skinner lost. That's right.
Plane crash. There's a bunch out there.
Oh, if you look at famous catcher for the Yankees or Mets, guy in the plane crash. Anyway, so, yeah, there's a lot of, but musicians. There's.
Think about it.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why a lot of them listen to big buses. That's a long way to get there. But
no, yeah, the whole touring life, that's a whole nother.
Anyway, at the end of the day, I thought Roger picked a lovely song. Because I had never a lovely song. I had never looked at the lyric. I just knew Like It On High was a great song.
Right.
And the ditty.
The chorus, right? The chorus,
the
was,
melody.
no. What happened was it's on my playlist, and the other day I was just listening a little more carefully to the lyrics.
Yeah.
And again, immediately that one, because we've talked about that, going home to a place you've never been before. Although I realize even now in the grandeur and beauty of nature, we have a taste. We have a taste of the garden.
Oh, yeah.
That we're going back. In other words,
Roger,
we're gonna go back home.
it's why I and you and our wives, we step outdoors and we're beautifying the land and clearing property and making pretty things. And this is a whole other topic we don't have time to today, but I just picked up a book out the street this weekend called Creativity by a guy named Matthew Fox. Well, a lot of people would think it's a heretic or TikTok.
Okay.
But his take on creativity is so good. He believes that in the same way that God created us and we made in the image of God, in the primary way, that we bear that image is in creating.
Yeah, I believe.
And we're creating for the glory of God. But even when we create things in our house, we see the glory of man and the fact of what man can do. But it's also the glory of God because it was God.
It is.
God created us to create.
Right.
Anyway, I grabbed it because I was doing some teaching at that creative conference, and I was like, I want to get a larger, broader picture. The other one I need to get is artist. What was the one?
Oh yeah, I think it's the artist way.
The
Yeah.
artist way. Just talking about how different creatives work and kind of the routine.
What they're, yeah, you would find that.
Everyone's routine is a little bit different. Anyway, last thing I'll say on the song for our listeners is get outside and learn to commune with God. One of the things that I used to do, I haven't done it in a while. We'll get back to it. Is I would have, like on a day to get a short hike, if it's only like 3 or 4 miles, I would say, all right, for 2 hours, I want everyone, before we take down camp and all that, let's get outside of camp. Go find a high place, a low place, a stream. Just get out of camp where you can't see anybody else. And don't take a Bible or anything. I just want you to take a notebook and a pen, small little notebook and pen. And I was supposed to commune with God. And it's going to take you 15, 20 minutes to just settle in and let the mind stop wondering and all that kind of stuff. And then just anything you said, just start writing it down. Just start writing down casual. And listen for the casual reply. And I remember one time I had a colonel in the U.S. Army when I'm going to ship. I sent everyone out and told him, he comes with pepper and he's like, I don't get it. I don't get this exercise. Maybe what's God allowed. I'm not even sure that's a thing. And I said, you and me, like, just go do it, and take a notebook and just see what happens. Okay. Almost with an eye roll. Like, yep. Guy came back with tears in his eye. Tears in his eye. With it still looking down his for the first time. And I was like, that's something that happens to me. Yeah. It is harder. I haven't thought about why, but I think you're onto the why. It is harder to do certain things in our spiritual indoors because so we're the indoors. Just the indoorsness of all of that. Like, right. To sit 2 hours indoors and meditate, probably never going to happen. There's way too many things that are distracting. Whereas in nature, there's all sorts of things I'm saying. Right, with the free thing. But they actually cause me to be more present, not more distracted. Yeah. And I feel freer, or there's expansive, freer. But it did make me, even this thought, because you alluded to it, we've gotten so used to spending, the norm is like we'll spend most or substantial amount of our time inside buildings. Yeah. And I'm not spiritual. I'm not going to turn this into, verily that is evil. But I think that there's this indoors is more artificial. It is more, and even where we might retreat, like you're saying, where it feels safer, it's a more controllable environment, it's more restricted and a lot of both. Yes, even for creativity. It is man-made, right? Now you are seeing more people trying to bring creation into their spaces. There are people now that own trees, like. In spaces. Now that I saw someone built a house that had a screen that goes underneath it, where it is flooring, it's clear in that section. So that even when you're walking along your living room, you can see the stream flowing.
Right.
This is like goes through.
Okay.
You see the stream
Right.
flowing underneath your house.
Yeah.
I mean, probably gonna take some water. That's on my part. I'm no construction specialist. I'm gonna do the thing. Let me see. Oh, that's like more. You got it. Look. Any final words from Rod today? I mean, not final words, not like last one. Okay, fairly dark.
I'll be taking a plane trip after.
Well, you're like, I don't think you know how an airport works. If that airplane pulled up in the driveway right now, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't make it.
I think I have an international flight. What am I doing here?
Well, we have something that we talked about a lot of video. I can't remember who all.
I think we were, but anyway.
Now go to the Rocky Mountains and get hot.
Yeah. Colorado, Rocky Mountains.
I gotta think of I'm not. I've done it before.
I've seen it raining fire in the sky.
It didn't work last time. I don't know.